What's up, everybody? It's your boy Cody from Savant, and welcome back to another episode of Pressure Points, where we take an in-depth look at the top 6 teams from the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference in the NBA and let you know what they need to do to win an NBA title. In today's episode, we take a look at the Western Conference, where we will look at the 38-11 OKC Thunder at first, the 33-16 Nuggets at second, the 32-16 Spurs sitting in the third spot, the 30-17 Rockets in the fourth seed, the 31-19 Minnesota Timberwolves sitting in the fifth seed, and finally the 29-18 Lakers sitting in the sixth seed. To start the video, we talk about the OKC Thunder, the defending championship team who is sitting at 38-11. For me, what I wanted to talk about was their interior size and rebounding. They do have a good rebounding team. They have elite defensive rating. However, their defensive rebound percentages trail other elite teams in the West. This is a big deal because in the playoffs, teams will get second possessions, they'll run big lineups, they will do everything in their power to make sure that they have an advantage over you. And currently, with Isaiah Hartenstein dealing with some injuries, he's in and out of the rotation. Chet Holmgren is just a little bit small for, the time being. He's still a 7-footer, but he could use a few pounds. And everything in between, they just will match up poorly against some other teams in a very stacked Western Conference come playoff time. Elite team that should go back-to-back, in my opinion. I think they have all the tools to win another championship, but size will turn into math come playoff time. As I'm saying, people will exploit them for their defensive rebounding, and they will attack the interior part of the court. Next, we talk about the 33-16 Denver Nuggets. This one is pretty obvious. It's bench stability. When Jokic is in the lineup, they're elite on all fronts, right? When it's just Jamal Murray, when it's anybody else besides Jokic, they sort of plummet in every facet, right? Because you're missing the best player in the world, in my opinion, and that could be a dangerous thing come playoff time. Especially their assist to turnover ratio skyrockets without either star. So when Jokic is not on the court or Murray's not on the court, they struggle to find an offensive or defensive identity. They're relying on a lot of guys like Peyton Watson to create some offense. And it's just something that is worrisome as the trade deadline approaches. They might want to make a move for somebody to solidify that team and have them have a healthy, fresh coat of paint headed into the NBA playoffs. Finally, bench will play a huge role against stifling defenses like OKC. Typically, the Denver Nuggets get off to a lead with their star players, but once it's bench time, their leads go bye-bye. And you think about teams like OKC, like the Lakers, like the Timberwolves, those teams don't let the bench beat them, right? They keep their starters in, they have good rotations that allow them to be competitive the whole game. That's something to watch out for the Denver Nuggets. Next, we have the 32-16 San Antonio Spurs. This one's a bit interesting. I wrote down perimeter containment. They have strong offensive metrics, but they get flustered with aggressive guards, both offensively and defensively, right? They have young guys like Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, a young-ish De'Aaron Fox, and both offensively and defensively, they seem to struggle at points, right? They get too aggressive sometimes, they take bad shots, and of course, as these young guards are learning to play defense in the NBA, other teams can take advantage of them. You think about a point guard like Luka Doncic, who could take over a game single-handedly against a team like the Spurs. Their defensive rating is inflated by the point of attack breakdowns, meaning they have a good defense, but you can sometimes catch Wemby outside of the paint, Luke Cornett outside of the paint. You can catch these guards off guard because they like to play aggressively, and it's just something to watch out for. And finally, they leak pressure in the front court with their young guards. As I said, these guys are going to be stars. Stephon Castle won Rookie of the Year. Dylan Harper is looking like a stud. They have plenty of firepower. It just might be a little too early to consider them NBA title contenders this year. However, with a freak like Wemby, you never know what's possible, and I'm rooting for them as an underdog this year. Next, we have the 30-17 Houston Rockets, and for them, shot selection and creation discipline matters most. They're a high-paced team with solid assist numbers, but no real offensive structure without the injury with the injury to Fred VanVleet. They don't really have a true point guard. They look to hand the ball to Amen Thompson. They let Kevin Durant take the ball down the court sometimes. One thing that you really notice is that the lack of structure when you don't have a point guard really shows, right? They dictate the pace of the game. They make elite decisions. They're supposed to look for their teammates and become pass-first players in most chords. And you just really can tell it's not there with the Houston Rockets, even though they're having a great season. They love to push the ball. They have a bunch of high flyers on that side offensively, but they get elevated turnover rates in transition, meaning they're playing aggressively. They're willing to, run and gun with other teams, but they're not making the right decisions when they're in those moments, right? A point guard is exactly supposed to do that, right? He's supposed to have the ball, dictate the pace of the game, find his open players, and help the team win, right? So they're simply rushing the process. I think they have all the tools to be an elite team that makes it deep into the playoffs, but until they find a true point guard, which maybe they can find one before the NBA trade deadline, they'll need to be a lot more careful with their shot selection and creation. Next, we have the 31-19 Minnesota Timberwolves. And for them, late game offense is exactly where they have a pressure point. They have elite defense, amazing rebounding, and a great rating overall, but their offensive roller coaster seems to come in waves, right? Sometimes they can put up a bunch of points. Sometimes they're just standing around waiting for Ant to play hero ball. It's something that they should really have figured out by the time they try to make a deep run in the playoffs. Their offensive efficiency dips in clutch pace moments, meaning when the game needs to slow or when it needs to speed up a little bit, they seem to be a little bit flustered. They have, some guys out there like Rudy Gobert who aren't offensive minded at all. They cannot have the ball in their hands other than right next to the paint. And that seems to pose an issue for a team like Minnesota. Their shot quality declines late, obviously praying for Anthony Edwards to take over. They might look for Julius Randle to take over, but Julius Randle has a good paint game. I think that he likes to settle for three-pointers and bad shots late. And it's just one of those things where you wish they could close out games against really good teams, and sometimes they can, but they would love to be a little bit more consistent on that front. And finally, we have the 29-18 Los Angeles Lakers. This one is all about perimeter defense consistency. When you have a player like Luka and an old man like LeBron, even though he's still great, you tend to see that there are holes on the defensive side, right? Luka has been playing okay defense. I think he's an okay one-on-one defender. However, when you get him into the pick and roll, or you ask him to move his feet a lot or play run and gun with other teams, you can definitely see where his energy lacks. Honestly, their defensive rating just swings from game to game. They're not consistent at all defensively for the most part, and that's just not a recipe for success in the playoffs. A team like OKC will dictate the pace. They'll make sure to make you uncomfortable. And honestly, the Lakers might win one game in a 7-game series. One last point here. Their offensive efficiency spikes when rotations break. Lakers are only successful when the ball's in front of them, meaning they don't play the best, transition defense. They have guys like Austin Reeves and Luka in the backcourt. You can definitely take advantage of those two players. But I think that their offensive prowess has kept them in a lot of games. They will score with anybody, and that doesn't always translate into success come playoff time. There you have it, guys. Thank you for watching another episode of Pressure Points Western Conference Edition with your boy Cody. If you liked this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a friend. We're really excited about bringing you guys more content as the weeks go by. Thank you.